Okay, it's the weekend, August 13th, and I wanted to do another SPY recap and analysis. And I'm looking at the daily chart here. You can see it ended up another up week this week, these 5 days. Here is the 15-minute chart of each of those days for the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You can see here on the weekly chart, we had I'll get into what we were discussing last week, but we kind of held the midpoint of this week and had a nice green bar. And on the monthly chart, we're continuing green. So as I discussed on the last week's video, we have this green bar in July, and we're starting two up in August, and you can see here we're projecting towards these highs here. So the market is still, for this month in August, as we move up, I think high probability we're going to take out that high, the monthly high of 42.96, and we got up to this week, where is that? 42.72. So we're almost there, taking out that high, and that's kind of going to be the moment of truth for the remaining part of August. Do we stay up here and have a nice green bar and then maybe continue up to all-time highs? Or after we take this out, are we going to get some kind of failure here? It could be a broadening action that could fail by the end of the month, and then we'll have to watch and see what September brings. Do we kind of hold whatever area it closes at and start up, or could it be a reversal down? But for now, last week, like I talked, it was kind of a small week, but I had the bias to the upside, so clearly that's what developed this week. But what's interesting, and I just want to point this out and then go over some of my individual trades for the week, look at the daily chart on how it actually worked up much higher. Monday, it opened up a little bit, but immediately went down, so it was kind of more of a red day. Tuesday was another red day to start the day, but it didn't really follow through much, and you can see it kind of got, that red line is the midway point of the prior week I drew in, and it just barely hit that area and then held. So that was the key area to hold, and that's why you had a big move up on Wednesday. But Wednesday was a big gap up, so it was very hard to kind of take advantage of some of these individual stocks that were already gapping up at the open. Most of their moves were made pre-market, so that was a tricky one. Then look at Thursday. We actually gapped up again, and I'll show you that here, but then we came right down for the whole day. Still within the uptrend, we kind of held. So it was more of a pause day, but there weren't, in terms of day trading opportunities, this wasn't a great long day. And then Friday was a great day to the upside, and I took advantage of that big with, Tesla stock and AMD. I'll show you that. So bottom line is what I'm trying to point out, the two real days to trade to the upside, even with this overall upside bias on the weekly chart and on the monthly chart, was on Wednesday here, which was a tough day to trade long because it gapped up, and Friday, which was, this was the easiest day of the week to really go long. Every other day, and I'll show you from my trades, I was almost buying puts on these days, and that's where I'll get into the importance of the opening price action on the 15-minute chart, how that kind of sets you up for what to look for. So anyway, I'll get into that in a second, but let's just see where we stand now going forward with the SPY. So we got the big up week, projecting up to these monthly highs up here. The monthly highs, close to 4,300. So I'll now move this red line to the midpoint of this week here. As long as we hold there, our bias is still the upside. Again, I think at some point next week we should take out those highs, the monthly highs up here. And then we'll see if we, at that point, does it bring in selling and reverse or hold? So it'll be an interesting week that way. As long as we hold the midpoint of this week, starting out, we're going higher. We'll continue to monitor for that, but we'll look for let's say in the first day of the week, we take that out, fail. We might have a potential failure, two up week failure where we go up, come to the midpoint of that bar. Then we'll be projecting by the end of the week to those lows. If that kicks in and we get a big red reversal bar, then all of a sudden it's possible that this month in August is ending, the up move, and we might be actually heading down for the rest of the month. We might close near the low of this month and then look to follow through lower in September. So a whole bunch of things. Even though I'm excited still to stay long here, I see we're reaching a key target where you can get a reversal. So on the other hand, if we head up and then don't really get any, weekly or let's call it daily reversal bars that follow through too much, then we could be holding this area right here and working towards all-time highs. But, you have to kind of know what to look for. So we'll start out again with the bias to the upside, but here's where the importance of the opening price. So if we look each day here on the 15-minute chart, you can see here that the market on Monday, let's go day by day, opened up a little bit and then kind of just barely couldn't really go through the first bar's high, and then we collapsed for the rest of the day. Obviously, Tuesday from the opening price action was down all day. Here was a gap up that didn't really follow through much on the opening bar. We kind of went down a little bit. We tried to come up. We just went sideways all day. So the bottom line was this was a down, neutral. Even though you had a big gap up on this day, it was still, the market was up like 500 points, but still, day trading wise, it was pretty neutral. This day, Thursday, look at this day. You had an up gap again that went up for just a little bit. Any long trades would have been quickly stopped down and actually ended up more of a down day. And then Friday was the only obvious day where you kind of opened up, held, and then started up for the rest of the day. So this was really the best long day of them all. And I'm just looking at my, trades here. Like on Monday, for example, I traded Tesla. I broke it. Let's look at the individual stocks real quickly here that I was looking at. Tesla, if you look at my videos, I actually went long at the beginning at like 9.05, and I had to break even on this trade. And then I bought puts as it kind of fell, and I saw the intraday price action developing, coming below the midpoint of that floor. I bought puts on Tesla. So that worked out well. And the only other long trade I took on this day, because it was an up day that kind of failed, was Netflix, and I just took that as a secondary. I didn't do that at the open. Netflix here was just kind of a trade that went up big, and then we came back to the halfway point. I bought this, moved back up for a small little gain here. Other than that, my big trades on the day were Tesla puts, as I said, later in the afternoon, Qualcomm puts, and NVIDIA puts. So if we look at like a stock like Qualcomm on Monday, even though, again, my bias was up, you could see here from the opening price action, we went down during the day. So there was an opportunity to buy puts in here and do well. On Tuesday, my two big trades were Tesla puts and BABA puts again. So if we look at BABA, for example, on Tuesday, as I showed you on the SPY, BABA, you can see here after the opening that didn't go anywhere. I bought some puts in here and made a little bit of money. I did better on the Tesla puts. And again, Tuesday was the SPY day that kind of started down from all day long. So it was just, there was no opportunity to look long, even though your buys were still the upside. Again, we were coming to the midpoint of the prior week here. So that's why it's not surprising that that's what held and you had the big gap up. Now, when we go to the big gap up on Wednesday, I see here that the only stock I traded long on Wednesday was Meta. I was, searching around for what I was hoping were the better opportunities. And you can see here we gapped up and we kind of held here on bar number, 2 and 3, and then started up to new highs. So there was a long trade I made in here, but then it kind of, like most of the market, gapped up and just went sideways for the rest of the day. And I see here, again, I bought Tesla puts and I bought some Coinbase puts. But let's look at the Tesla puts on that day. Once the market gapped up and wasn't going anywhere, okay, I remember this. Yeah, this was, even though the market gapped up, Tesla was a stock that gapped up and immediately started down big. So again, I was able to buy some puts here on the second 15-minute bar, I believe, and I took it down to the close of yesterday. That was kind of that target because, you're still well above the midpoint of the prior day, but it opened up so weak. So again, there's an example of looking at the or the opening price action to really guide your trading. And when I saw the overall market was gapping up and Tesla was one of the weak stocks, I tried puts there. But anyway, no matter what, there weren't many easy up trades on that because most of the gap up, most of the movement of the price happened on the gap up and they didn't follow through all that much. It went sideways. Anyway, you can see here, again, did I go Tesla puts? Clearly would have been good on Thursday. I don't think I did that. No, I did Microsoft and Meta puts, but again, Tesla would have been another nice short. And again, Thursday was a day where we opened up a little bit, just really didn't follow through above the first bar and went down for the entire day. And Tesla was weak right from the start. So again, just showing you how at the open, if you would have seen the SPY not following through and you would have seen Tesla being a weak stock starting out and just that first little move up, this would have been a great puts as well. But I was buying puts on Meta and Microsoft, as I recall. That's in some of my videos. So Microsoft, same kind of thing as Tesla. You kind of, even though the market gapped up and couldn't follow through to the upside, Microsoft gapped up and kind of started down and just pulled back a little bit and then started a second move down. So I bought puts here. And then finally, the big up day we talked about on the SPY, the final, and everything's in the up mode. I'll go back to the SPY here. Well, first let me go to Tesla because that was my big trade of the day. I put a whole separate video out on it. If you want to look back at it, but it was a great trade here where we kind of had a 2-down failure on the daily chart, moved up to the halfway point of that, yesterday's price action, and which then projected to setting up an outside day to the upside. And there was a great long trade here on Tesla to the upside. I also bought, I believe, AMD was another stock I was looking to buy long a little bit. And yeah, I mean, you had that up opening here and then a pullback and a bit of an up opening. So anyway, there was, some good trades to the upside, and the SPY, clearly it was the big day where we gapped up to the halfway point of yesterday, held the open, and then boom, once we broke out there, that was a big move up. So if we go back to the SPY again, it was really only 2 days of price action, that got us to have a nice big green week. It was just that gap up on Wednesday and a very, nice trading day to the upside on Friday. Everything else was a little tricky. They were kind of, selling some of the opening price action, and there was some good put trades. So anyway, that's it for this video. Let's look for the SPY next week to follow through higher. Let's be very careful to see once we reach that monthly target, do we reverse at that point? There might be some great, again, look at the opening price action once we get up there on some stocks that just, immediately open down, and that'll show you that'll kind of give a hint that the market as a whole might be reversing. You got to pick the right sectors, but we'll see what happens. So big green day here on Friday, big green week, expecting a little follow through, and it's going to be real interesting to see on the long term, once we take out this monthly target, what happens next. So that's kind of what we're looking for. And again, I'm still monitoring the potential for, as August comes to an end here, do we hold up in here on any kind of breakout, or do we fail? And that's going to be a big indicator as to what happens in the weeks and months ahead.